And we're live, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's going to be a very fun one today. We may have one more one more person join us later, but that we don't know. We've got to go for now. But doing active performance in DC movies, I got a fun panel. We've got Anthony Tisdall here. How's it going?
Good, doing well. Just got done a 3-hour marathon of movie quotes that you joined in on. So now get to do this. This will be fun. A little difference from just reading off movie quotes. I get to debate.
Yep. And also we've got Harlequin herself, Kelsey. Kelsey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing good. Excited to be here for sure. Got lots of opinions, probably some of them controversial, but it's fine.
It's part of the fun.
And also, we've got Mark. Mark, how's it going?
Oh, good. I had heard that show of quotes was pretty fun. I'm sorry I missed it, but I can't wait to watch the playback. And I'm excited to talk about DC and performances. And I've probably got some not controversial, but sort of highly personal picks on my list. But we'll see how this goes. I'm excited to get this going.
But yeah, I'm just give me a minute. I'm just sending a link to someone, but someone has offered to join us, so we don't have
surprise guest.
Yeah. But while we wait for him to join, how the show works, we go around and nominate an acting performance we think belongs on a top 12 list, and then we all say yes or no to it. But I will go to Anthony to throw the first one. He should not be here too long, but yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, yes, it's you first.
I wasn't sure if we were waiting for the other guy or not. Okay.
I mean, it will take him a while to join, but by the time he gets here, it'll be very short anyway. So,
got it. All right, then I will go with my first pick. I'm going away from what I feel like are some of the obvious DC movie people, but with a movie that myself I didn't really enjoy. It was fun, but I don't think it was that good. But Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach was fantastic in that movie. I think he personified that character after reading the comic. He was perfect in that role. There's a lot of issues with that movie, and some of the other actors, Malin Ackerman, not to name any names, were not very good in it, but he was great, and he personified the character perfectly, and I think he needs to be put on this list just for the simple making that movie a little bit more watchable than it was.
Kelsey, what do you say about Jackie Earle Haley?
I actually really enjoy watching it. I do know that it's problematic in a lot of ways, but I like literally just watching it while flipping through the actual graphic novel and comparing how beautiful it is. And nobody I feel like could have pulled off that role quite like he did. He did make the movie much more watchable than it was, because I have to agree, some of the people were pretty garbage in that movie. But yeah, I say yes. I feel like he does definitely deserve to be on the list.
Mark, what do you say about Jackie Earle Haley?
When you pitched the idea for this episode, Jackie Earle Haley was the first name that came to mind in terms of a DC performance. Not a lot of people knew about his filmography and like what he has done prior. Not a lot of people did, but as soon as he got cast as Rorschach, there were two minds. It was, who is this guy? And then second, this is either going to be brilliant or this is going to be a train wreck, because the movie does not work if you cannot get Rorschach right. And people can say what they want about the movie. I personally find the director's cut to be really, really well done for what it is. You're never going to replicate the comic unless years later you make a TV show that's a sequel, but we're not here to talk about that. But you're never going to replicate the beauty of the original comic. But in my opinion, Zack Snyder does a pretty wonderful job given the circumstances. The less said about other casting, Malin Ackerman, the better. But Jackie Earle Haley absolutely crushes this role. And there's just, I mean, you could say several people in this movie crush their roles, but no one really crushes it except for him. Now it's hard to imagine it's hard to imagine anybody else playing Rorschach. And I'm sure there was a short list of actors that Warner Brothers probably would rather have gone with, but it's Jackie all the way. He is Rorschach. He will always be Rorschach. He is fantastic. I think he absolutely deserves to be on this list.
And my surprise guest, Doug. Doug, what would you have said about Jackie Earle Haley?
What's up, Doug?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Jackie Earle Haley. Yeah, absolutely. His performance in Watchmen is one of the performances that actually carries the movie for me. It's a very page to screen adaptation. They changed the ending, but pretty much everything else is page for screen, and it can be daunting to watch at times because some of it is just like, all right, let's carry on. It's an adaptation, guys. Let's actually pace it out better. I think that's one of Zack Snyder's kind of issues is pacing. But Jack Earle Haley is like one of my favorite performances of a superhero performance or any performance in DC. I think he carries the movie, and I think he's when they remove his mask is one of my favorite scenes because he literally, if you know Rorschach at all, you ever read the comics, he doesn't remove his mask because that's his face. There is no other face underneath.
And with that, like Jackie Earle Haley does make this list. I'm not a big fan of Watchmen. I really don't think it's a good movie. Make sure Caleb Coe's not standing behind me. But yeah, even I probably would have leaned to a yes for Jackie Earle Haley. I think he's the best part of the movie and the only thing which kept me watching to the end. But I'm going to vote. Kelsey, what is your first nomination?
I think it's probably going to be pretty obvious who my first nomination is, because if someone else nominated them, I'd be really mad. So I'm going with Margot Robbie, and particularly Birds of Prey, but I guess you can lump in Suicide Squad as well. I have been an avid Harlequin reader since I was very young preteen. And when I found out they were making an adaptation with her, I was very critical of the idea because I thought nobody can nail this part. Voiceover actors have, but I haven't seen any actresses that could do it. And Margot's just knocked the socks off of me with that role. She is perfect in that part. She carries Suicide Squad. That movie, for the most part, is pretty god awful, but she made me go see it 8 times in theaters because of how good she was in the role. So I am saying Margot Robbie, particularly Birds of Prey, though, because that is her movie. She shines, and she's incredible in it.
Mark, what do you say about Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn?
I am of some split minds here because on one hand, I felt Suicide Squad is completely unwatchable. It's pretty much unwatchable. Birds of Prey, I was very enthusiastic about until I saw it, and I know I'm sure I fall in the minority here, but the movie was Deadpool 2 basically, and I just couldn't. I said, why would you do this? If anything, just give me a Harley Quinn movie and don't try and disguise it as Birds of Prey, because that's not what this movie was. It was false advertising. So these are 2 movies that have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, but here's my problem. The only thing that makes Suicide Squad worth watching at all is Margot as Harley. The only thing that kept me still going in Birds of Prey, other than wacky Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, because that's fun. What really? I mean, he's wacky. There's no better word I can use. It's just, you know what? You're having fun, Ewan, and I'm having fun watching you, even though I'm so confused by so much of what you're doing. But there's a consistency with Margot's portrayal of Harley Quinn that I was really kind of hoping Birds of Prey wouldn't be a direct sequel to Suicide Squad, and unfortunately, based on the tone and aesthetic, it felt that way. And yet I still did not hate her as Harley Quinn. I think she nails the role. As much as we would all love Tara Strong to, actually be a live action representation of the character that she's basically given voice to. And partly is responsible for its creation. Harley, Margot nails it. She nails it, and she keeps me wanting to say. After Suicide Squad was over, I thought, I don't like that, but I want to see more of Harley. So, would I be mad if she didn't make this list? No, but do I think she deserves to be on this list? Sure, because she's the only interesting part of the movie she's been in, and I know that's only 2, but that's my sosa. So I'm split, but there you go. That's what I have to say about it.
Was there was yes to Margot, is what I'm hearing.
50, yeah. Well, it's a maybe. Let's say sorry.
Two answers.
Okay.
60-40,
yes. Fine.
Doug, what do you say about Margot Robbie from Harley Quinn?
Yeah, no, I am in the camp that I love Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey is a unreliable narrator story, and it's great because it's told from the perspective of Harley Quinn. That's why it's so chaotic and everything. And people just were like, why is it so chaotic? I'm like, because it's from her point of view. Have you not seen her animated series or listened to any or read any comics? Or, I don't know, watch the animated fucking series. Let's just be honest. Mad love. Go read the comic. Go watch the episode. It's a great episode. She is the living embodiment of Harley Quinn. I do disagree. There's 2 characters that I really liked in Suicide Squad, and that was I would love to see Will Smith as Deadshot again, because I think he was great. I think the father-daughter relationship, but that's Will Smith in general. He's usually pretty good at those kind of roles where it has something to do with a kid and something to do with action. But he wasn't the star of that movie. He was not the star of that movie. Let's be honest. He sat down for like 90% of the movie. There you go. I do not blame him. I blame the director of that movie. Like I blame the director of that movie for 90% of his work. Anyway, yeah, Harley Quinn's great. I think Margot Robbie is fantastic. I've liked Margot Robbie in everything she's done. So to be able to put her up as a DC character, she's the living embodiment of Harley Quinn. I think she gave Harley Quinn a great voice, and it was a lot of people got to remember, even though it's called Birds of Prey, and they think they changed it actually, even though it's called Birds of Prey, it's a Harley Quinn story. Harley Quinn's telling it. She's chaotic. She's a really unreliable narrator. Let's be honest. And yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, depending on which version of the title for Birds of Prey, because there's Birds of Prey, the ridiculously long title of Harley Quinn, and then it was changed to just Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, the simplistic version of that title. But yeah, I'm of the camp that I really enjoy Suicide Squad, and I think it's a great movie.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine.
It definitely is.
I'll give you 2/3, Malcolm. I'll give you 2/3 of that movie is a great music video. But anyway, it's going to be a yes to Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. And I mean, if we were doing TV series, I probably would have maybe nominate Kelly Croker later, but if we're not doing TV series, there can be a list for another time. Anthony, what you have said about Margot Robbie?
I mean, I would love to see a pop-up video of the music video that you're discussing, Doug.
I'm just saying, let's do it. Like, there's fan crowds, right? Let's fan edit that movie. VH1 movie pop-up.
Yeah. I do think Margot Robbie absolutely personifies Harley Quinn. Like, it is, like, to put her in, when you're talking DC actors, there are some people that are good as the role, or there you go.
We all do.
No, so do I, but it's good that the wife has a crush on her too. Basically, yeah, she personifies the actor. When you talk about a lot of these other people, some of them are just in better movies, and that's what makes their role better when you think about some of the actors. But Margot's in, I didn't see Birds of Prey yet. It's on my list. I plan on it. But Suicide Squad, it's like you guys said, it's fun. It's kind of entertaining for 2/3, but she makes it. I can always sit there and watch and be entertained by just her chaotic running around, the way she talks, the way she moves, all that stuff is just really well done, and it really does personify it. So I feel like as a DC actor, it needs to be put in the top 12.
Yeah, but anyway, we go to Mark. Mark, what is the first nomination you're going to come up with?
I think the obvious answers will probably be coming up like soon or later, whatever. So I maybe not. We'll see. But I'm gonna
the obvious one.
Yeah. Then again, my version of obvious might be very different from what you all will think it's obvious. So I'm gonna hit you with one that is probably not so obvious, but is worth mentioning, and I think should hold a place, because here's the thing, you guys, we are living in a time where everything is uncertain. There's a disease spread around, and there's only one hope. And that hope apparently is going to be legendary actor Tom Hanks. And he's going to play father to not just America, the world. He's going to donate his blood. They're going to find a cure. We are going to be saved. But Tom Hanks very rarely plays a bad guy, but he does play a hitman in the comic adaptation of Road to Perdition as Mike Sullivan. This noir story of a hitman and a gangster, and he loses his family due to the very people he's trying to protect, and basically it's just a revenge story through and through, but it's a father-son story. So you do get a little bit of the Hanks isms in that he's being a dad, he's trying to show his kid the ropes, despite the fact that it's a hard world that he's involved in. He's a hitman, and he's a good hitman. And we don't often get to see Tom Hanks play a morally compromised individual. He's always usually the hero or, a good guy. Mike Sullivan's not a good guy. He wants to protect his family, and that's good. But let's not make a mistake. He kills people for a living. So that's not good. And I just think this is a movie that it's so well done that people forget this is a graphic novel adaptation. Like this came from a comic, and Tom Hanks, he's doing what Tom Hanks does, and he's wowing us, being not America's dad, but a noir style hitman. And I think it's just a fantastic performance. It's out of his usual comfort zone, and he just nails it. So I say Mike Sullivan, played by Tom Hanks, Road to Perdition.
Doug, what do you say about Mike Sullivan?
Listen, it's T. Hanks. You got to put him on the list no matter what it is. It's T. Hanks. He's one of the greatest actors of all time. He's America's father. He's given me some of my favorite laughs, some of my favorite cries. And his performance in this movie is ridiculously good. I think it's probably one of his best performances. If you're ranking his top 10 performances, I think this could probably be put on his top 10. Yeah, it's a yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a movie I've been trying to find on streaming in New Zealand for ages. As of yet, I haven't found it, so I haven't seen it. Anthony, man, what do you say about Tom Hanks and Road to Perdition?
I mean, I can't really say much. It's Tom Hanks. I mean, I didn't have this on my list because as I was scrolling through the DC movies, I wasn't sure. I only saw Mark's comment kind of more recently. But I mean, it's a great movie. Tom Hanks is great in it. Like he said, it's a different role for him than what you're used to. And Tom Hanks, if you don't put Tom Hanks on the top 12 list, what are you doing here? Like
that is correct.
It's kind of hard to say anything against it. So, I mean, I got to put him on because he's definitely better than some of these kind of sort of JV or performances I have on my list here. So,
Kelsey, what would you have said about Tom Hanks?
I feel like I would have been shunned and never spoken to again had I not said yes to this because it's freaking Tom Hanks. So absolutely, I would have said yes anyways. He's great in the role. It's a fantastic movie, and he is really great in it. And yeah, I would have said yes.
But yeah, Doug, we go to you for your first nomination.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not risking anything. I'm making sure this performance gets on here. It won a DC movie a Best Actor award. Hell no, I'm not leaving him out. Mr. Joaquin Phoenix as a Joker. This is one of the greatest performances of a Joker, whether you think it's comic realistic or not. I think it's perfect because it gives you exactly who he is at the end of the movie, which is an unreliable narrator. Let's be honest. A lot of people don't know if the movie even happened, or he's just in an insane asylum, and it's great. If you don't get the subcontext of this movie, I'm sorry. I really am. Who hurt you? But this, or maybe his mother Penny hurt you in some form or performance of her. You could literally probably put up him or his mother in this movie, and they both be phenomenal. But let's be honest, the things that he went through for this performance is on the caliber of things that he's done in the past. Joaquin Phoenix is one of the best actors working today, regardless of method or not. It's just how he captivates the screen. You're watching him; he's on 94% of the film. He doesn't leave the screen, but except I think 1 or like 2 minutes at max. He's on every other frame. To be able to captivate you and pull you in the entire movie with his performance alone, send in the clowns. Let's go. It's Joaquin Phoenix.
But yeah, I don't know if Adelaide is still in the chat, but I know he's not going to like it if this one gets on. But I think Joker's a fine movie, but I think Joaquin Phoenix is a good performance in it. I'm going to say yes. Anthony, what do you say about Joaquin Phoenix?
I mean, he's great. He's one of the best actors around nowadays, and he did a great job with Joker. Obviously he won an Oscar, but it definitely needs to be in the top 12. There's a lot of people in here that can't even compare to the job he did in that movie alone. So he's got to be in the top 12.
Yeah, he was my next one if someone hadn't said it first, because Joker was my favorite movie of last year by far. I saw it multiple times in theaters. I left it probably in a different mood than most people left it in. I went with other people and they were kind of somber, and I'm like, that was so great. I loved it. Because Joker is one of my favorite characters of all time, and I think he crushed it. So I would say yes for sure.
And Mark, what would you have said about Joaquin?
I think he kind of sucks in this. I'm kidding. I'm going to
need your address real quick. I'm going to need your address real quick just to send you.
Nashville, Tennessee. Come at me, bro. No. Let's be honest, Malcolm. The chat would have burned this thing to the ground if Joaquin hadn't been thrown on this. So, I mean, there was no chance he was not going to get on this list. Actually, and to call a spade, I did not think this movie was going to be worth a damn at all. Even when the trailer hit, I thought, why are we doing this? We don't need this. That was quickly changed the moment I sat down to watch the movie, because you cannot deny Joaquin's performance. I mean, even if this wasn't Joker, this is still hands down probably his best performance. You could probably compare it to maybe some other things, but he's shown, like, he made a believer out of this guy. And I love the Joker. Obviously, longtime Batman fan, forever, my ride or die. Joker's always going to go hand in hand with that. But I didn't think we needed this movie. And now, having watched it and having watched what Joaquin did in the performance, I can't imagine a world where we don't have this movie now. And there's not a lot to say about it that hasn't been said. So yeah, he was gonna make it. He's on my list, just to clarify. So yeah, I would have said yes.
It's back to me, and I'm going to go for this one because I know this one's going to somewhat polarized. I know some people really like this performance, some people really don't. I'm going for Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. This is her performance as Wonder Woman is just incredible. Just to see sort of what she brings to the table and just the fierceness of the character. And I'm bummed that we may not get to see the Wonder Woman 84 this year now, but it will come out eventually. And but I don't know what more to say, but she's just sort of showed the performance in this, and just the way she does the action as well. Just it just flows. I think she definitely fits into this role. Anthony, what do you say about Gal Gadot?
Sorry, my wife's yelling at the cat upstairs because he's running around like a psychopath. Gal Gadot, I actually did a fantastic job as Wonder Woman. She really did encompass the role with the kind of being a little naive to the way of the real world, but also, like you said, the action scene, like the No Man's Land scene, is one of the better scenes I think in like some of the DC comic movies. Like I just thought that scene was great. It is another one of those movies where I feel like the first two acts make it, and then the third act kind of went downhill a little bit. You got to go with CGI action and all that, which kind of made it a little disappointing. But she was one of the saving graces of the Justice League movie, which was not great. I did think she was good in it. She probably is, like Mark had earlier, kind of like 50-50. I'm probably 60-40 with her too. I would say she would barely make my top 12, but I did have her on my list of the top 12 just because she really did do a good job. And Wonder Woman kind of brought some of the DCU back out of the trash that it was starting to become. So I would put her in there. It's probably not like a full, but I would put her in the top 12.
And as Stephen pointed out, we're already going quicker than last week. We're not going to go for almost 3 hours this week.
That would be nice.
Kelsey, what do you say about Gal Gadot?
When I found out she was being cast as Wonder Woman, I was pretty skeptical. I'm like, this is just a model. I've never heard of her before. She doesn't look like how I picture Wonder Woman, being like this strong, big, muscular Amazon. She's the model. And then seeing her as Wonder Woman first in Superman and then on to Wonder Woman, I like her. I feel like she's very magnetic on screen. I feel like that's partly why she's so good in the role, is just that she just has a presence. She's very interesting to hear, talk, and look at and things like that. Her actual acting, I don't feel like she's all that strong yet. I'm not saying she won't be eventually. I'm like also like 50-50, but I'm more 60-40 in the no. So I'm going to say no.
Mark, what do you say about Gal Gadot?
I think it's important to make a distinction. Are you talking about the Gal Gadot from BVS, her solo film, or Justice League? Because I feel like those performances are very different. We don't get a lot in BVS. We get, her big moment, which is a cool moment, but it only really gives us her moment to shine action wise. We don't get a lot of her acting ability in that particular movie. We get a couple of lines and they're very wooden. Her solo film, I would say, is better. I love the movie. I think it's well directed. And I'm in one of those where I don't mind the CG fight at the end. If she didn't fight Ares, I feel like us old school Wonder Woman comic fans would be really pissed off. So, I mean, you can't please everybody. It's whatever. But I think the movie is better than her performance. You know what I mean? Whereas in Justice League, not a good movie. It's not. And it breaks my heart every day I think about it. But she finally feels like she's coming to her own in that performance. So it's kind of, I gotta say, I did write her down, but as an honorable mention, because I don't think she's, as much as in my mind, in my headcanon, she's Wonder Woman. I've made peace with it. It's fine as long as the same team of people that have boosted her success, a la Patty Jenkins and what have you, keep at it. And as long as she continues to grow as an actress, I mean, she will no doubt solidify herself as quintessential Wonder Woman. But at the moment, like I said, there are some inconsistencies only because she's getting better as an actress the more she does it. So for me, I'm going a no as well.
So I believe, Doug, you're going to be the decider on this.
Yeah. Listen, we can't take it movie based. You have to take it as all three. I think Patty Jenkins got the performance out of her. But if you put her in any other director's hands, she's kind of flat. That scene that she has with Ray, it's flat. You want to feel emotion for it, but you don't. Like you want to be like, she's trying to help him out, she's trying to pull him in, but you kind of don't. Listen, I like Jason Momoa more than I liked her in Justice League, especially with him. He had a better use of the lasso of truth in Justice League than she did. But no, performance-wise, you got to judge on all three movies. You can't just judge on one. And she was 2/3 of the way through that movie, and then she fell flat on Wonder Woman. I don't believe that she actually, if she actually felt that way when, like, she would have been crushed, like when Steve died, and I didn't feel that from her. I didn't feel that, and that's in the last part of the movie. And that's the problem that a lot of people have. So yeah, I got to give this a no because I'm going off of all three performances.
Yep. So Wonder Woman does not make the list, but Anthony, what's your next nomination?
All right. I will start making my way into Nolanverse a little bit here, which I'm sure there's going to be a couple possibly coming from that. But someone not as obvious, I'm going to go with Michael Caine as Alfred. I think that was an absolutely perfect Alfred. He had the right gravitas to keep Christian Bale where he needed to be, to keep Batman where he needed to be. He always was there. He was always helpful. He had quips on occasion. He, in my opinion, was a perfect Alfred for this set of movies. And it's Michael Caine. He's just a great actor to begin with, and he did a great job as in these roles. So I think Michael Caine is my next choice to be on this list.
Mark, what do you say about Michael Caine?
You skipped.
Obviously, Kelsey, what do you say about Michael Caine?
He didn't want to be the last choice. He didn't want to.
He was also, again, the next choice I was going to bring up if no one else did. I love Michael Caine as Alfred. I don't feel Batman works without a good Alfred. Like, that's most of his good conversations that we learned about him as a character happened with Alfred. So if he is flat and not bringing something to that conversation, Batman doesn't work. And Michael Caine does a great job doing those more intimate conversation scenes with Christian Bale. And yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Mark, this time.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, Michael Caine's a world-class actor. There's no doubt about that. And I know I'm going to catch all kinds of hell about this. But what ruins his Alfred for me is The Dark Knight Rises. Just his entire, if you want to call it, arc that he has in that movie is essentially, you know what, I'm done with you, Bruce. I'm leaving. Alfred never leaves Bruce. That's kind of the power of Alfred, is the loyalty he has, not just to the Wayne family, but also to Bruce, because he knows if Bruce goes out on his own, Bruce isn't coming back. Like Alfred is literally the glue that holds the Bat family together. And I know we're talking about the distinction of this Alfred from these movies, but you got to give me more, because I feel as where we go from Batman Begins Alfred to Dark Knight. Yeah. Like everything you said, I feel like he is the Alfred that we are, if you're familiar with any Bat story prior to the Nolan films, that's the Alfred that we get, and played by Michael Caine, no less. I mean, so he's doing his Michael Caine-isms, but all of that is contradicted in Dark Knight Rises, because he's just like, you know what? You're old and broken. I'm just old as shit, and I'm done with it, and I should leave. And then at the end, you made him cry, and you don't make Alfred cry like that. And you just, I don't. I'm sorry. I can't do it. And I feel like there are better Alfreds as Alfred Goat, not actors. Not actors.
Oh, okay, I was about to say.
Not actors.
Okay.
Let me be clear. There are better personifications of Alfred written. There are better that we've been given other than the Michael Caine version of Alfred. So with a heavy, heavy heart, and you trusted me and I failed you, but I got to say no to Michael Caine's Alfred. Yeah, I said it.
Oh, look at that. Michael Caine's just jumped on the call. He's backstage.
I'm sorry,
I totally don't have that pull to get Michael Caine on the stream.
No one does.
Doug, what do you say about Michael Caine?
Listen, this is the Alfred that I wanted. this is the Alfred that made the most sense. This is the comic book Alfred that you were looking for. I understand what Mark was saying. Alfred doesn't leave, but actually he has in the comic books when Bruce has gotten this bad. But Alfred is Bruce's humanity, and he shows that through at least 2 of the 3 films. He is the thing that ties Bruce, because let's be honest, Bruce isn't Bruce. Bruce is Batman. Batman is his real identity. Bruce is his secret identity. It's been said. There's been psychology books written about it. So you wouldn't. I own them too. I own them on audiobook. They're great. But I think to say, unlike Gal Gadot, when I'm judging an entire performance, I don't hold the last part of a film over a trilogy. Through that trilogy, he has been a through line. He has been the Alfred for the majority that you kind of, come to accustomed to in the animated series or reading like comic book later down the line. And he's not the campy 90s Alfred, which is what we got, which is as growing up as a kid, I was like, yeah, I want that Alfred. But then I was like, I'm going to read comic books. And I was like, no, I want the MI6 Alfred that comes out later and can whoop some ass. That's the Alfred that I want. But no, I think Michael Caine does a superb job through majority of his performances. I mean, if we're taking in accountability, and no offense to Margot Robbie, if we're going to put Margot Robbie on the list, Michael Caine blows her out of the water as a performance.
That's fair.
So it's a yes for me.
But yeah, I will fight you, Garth. Michael Caine is totally the best Alfred.
Shark pellet is what made 66 Padme.
Yeah, I will fight you on that as well.
But yeah, Michael Caine is an easy yes for me. He's going to make this list.
I knew I'd get overruled.
Kelsey,
it's
we
fine.
go back
It's
to you.
fine.
All right, trying to decide who to say next. I'm going to whip back around to a movie we've already talked about, but this is my favorite character in said movie, and I feel like the actor did an amazing performance in it. That's Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the comedian. I love the comedian. He's by far one of my favorite characters of all time, not just comic book, but characters of all time, because he's so complex. You end up liking him, even though he's also a horrible human being who does horrible things, and then yet you still end up kind of missing him when he passes away. You feel bad for him. There's different arcs like that. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan makes that happen. If anyone, I feel like most other actors, if they would have played that part, possibly you wouldn't feel for him, but he's just so charismatic, so charming, so lovable that you can see why Silk Spectre ended up doing what she did, because it's hard to stay mad at someone like that. It's not healthy by far, but it's life and it's relatable, and that's what life's like. It's dark and light. And so I enjoyed him playing the comedian a lot.
Mark, what do you say about Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the comedian?
I would say it's most certainly Jeffrey's best acting performance, I think. I mean, maybe you could make an argument for his time as Negan on Walking Dead, but even then, though, like, you just it doesn't matter. I would say he is an important piece, just like Rorschach. You don't get Rorschach right, this movie falls apart. Also, though, the comedian, I would say, is just as heavy a task, because you have to understand that character and why he is the way he is. The problem is, I don't know that I would even put him in my top 5 best performances in that movie. And I love the movie. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I think he's a fine comedian, but I personally could have seen somebody else do it. That's, not a slight against him. I just kind of go like, well, yeah, you're good in it. And I think Snyder got the performance out of you that he wanted for comedian. And maybe it's because the movie has to be paced a certain way and follow the story as it's presented. We probably would have benefited a little more from more comedian stuff. Maybe the dynamic of his complicated relationship with Sally Jupiter, maybe. Although you could say we got enough of it, but as much as I like him in the movie, he's certainly not the other person I go to when I think of Watchmen as far as performances. You could say John Winchester, but I'm not a Supernatural fan, so it's whatever. I'm sure there's other people that say no, his best role is Grey's Anatomy. Like, fuck off. Anyway, no offense if you like it. No offense if you like it. Oh well, then really fuck off. So. I just by a margin, I would say no, but that's not to say his performance isn't good. But just to me, I would go, maybe not.
Doug, what do you say about Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
All right. So I love the comic, and I know that I said with Jackie, it was a page for page. You're missing a lot of what the comedian is in this movie for me. I think there's a lot of things that could have made that performance even better. The performance in Vietnam for me isn't strong. It's not strong. It very much turns me off from the character when, you're supposed to be turned off from the character, but like, I think it could have been brought
Spoilers.
A little bit. I guess spoilers for a show that's been around for 14 years. No longer than that, like 15, 16 years.
25 years.
Maybe. But no, I think the problem with him as the comedian is it was very hard to, kind of not see him on screen instead of seeing the comedian on screen. If that makes sense. So it's a no for me, unfortunately.
I just did a fact check of Grey's Anatomy. It came out in 2005, so it has been 15 years.
No Brooklyn Vale right now. What up?
But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Jeffrey Dean Morgan in Watchmen. I think he's fine. I think he's better in his brief stint as Thomas Wayne in
Yikes.
That one. But yeah.
That one.
So
condescending. That one.
Martha! Why did you say her name?
So yeah, it's good. I'm going to put the final nail on Jeffrey Dean Morgan's coffin and say no. Every word you have said.
I mean, it's not the final.
Right. I mean, I probably will put the final nail in it. I do like comedian. I think they said earlier, you need more comedian to really make it and to really let him be it. The one thing I would love to see him is like, I know he was Thomas Wayne. If I can get him as the Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint in a movie, that would be absolutely perfect for that role. But we don't have that until it does. If anyone's listening that does movies, come on,
let's get him some steroids so he can.
You literally get a Maggie versus
Negan, Maggie versus
a Negan, because Maggie was his mother and she turns to the Joker and Negan becomes Batman. Yeah, let's do it, guys. The screenplay is there. Let's write it, guys.
Read Flashpoint, kids. Read it.
Yeah, Flashpoint.
So good.
Watch the movie.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But Mark, we go back to you for your next pick.
I originally was going to go a more non-traditional route just to see where I'd land on it, but I think maybe I'll either save this person or maybe we'll go in the honorable mentions. So I'm going to do what Doug did and play the safe card. You don't get probably most of comic book movies without one that absolutely was a game changer. I'm talking about 1989's Batman, and I'm talking about the guy that if we had the internet back then, the controversy, the fires that would have started.
Mr. Mom.
No one thought Mr. Mom, Michael Keaton would have been a good Batman at all. And people still hold him in regard as the best Batman we've gotten. I'm not saying I'm one. I'm just saying, look, without that movie, my fandom doesn't happen. Without that movie, this tattoo doesn't happen. The comics I have on the shelf don't happen without that movie just hitting me at the right time. Yeah, I mean, it's just, you can say what you will about 89's Batman not holding up as well today, and that is fair. That is completely fair. But for me, that's the one that started it all. That's the one that made me care about, oh, superheroes. What else? Let me deep dive into more stories. And it starts with that movie. It starts with Michael Keaton as Batman. And I didn't even know back then when I was a kid that people hated the idea of it. And then that shut up some mouths real quick, the way I understand it. So I would say his role as Batman, Bruce Wayne in Batman and Batman Returns, respectively, because I mean, if we're gonna keep it consistent there. But yeah, Michael Keaton Batman, got to play it safe, got to play it true.
Angry letters.
Doug, what do you say about Mr. Mum as Batman?
Mr. Mom as Batman is great. Ask me what I got for my second Christmas ever. Ask me.
For your second Christmas ever.
What did you get?
I got the motherfucking Batmobile from the 89 Batman. This started my love obsession with comic book movies. I had the Batman VHS on tape until I killed it. And then I made my mom go.
I killed it too.
I killed it. I not only killed it once, not twice. I've killed it 3 times. I bought 3 separate feet. Well, I didn't buy it. My mom bought it for me. Listen, I was
Here's
Batman.
another one, you little shit.
Here's another one. Sit down and be quiet. Because I may still have it, but I used to have ADHD, and I would be the kid that was really rambunctious and would jump off the couch and say, I'm Batman. Yeah, no, there wouldn't be a modern day renaissance of comic book heroes without this version of Batman. Regardless of what happens later down the line with the Schumacher takes, I actually enjoyed Returns as well. So yeah, it's a yes. Michael Keaton, yeah.
Michael Keaton, I do enjoy as Batman. I think he's good. He's probably my second favorite Batman of all time. But I'm going to say no for this.
You are fired.
Just for the reason is I think there's a lot of better performances than Michael Keaton, and I do think he's probably going to make the list regardless. But you say no to Michael Caine, so I'm going to say no to Michael Keaton.
You're doing this for spite. You damn Kiwi, you're doing it out of spite. I knew it. I knew this was going to happen.
But Anthony, what do you say about Michael Keaton?
I mean, obviously, yes. I mean, obviously, the second Batman behind George Clooney. Clearly.
Yikes.
No, I'm joking.
I know now. No.
Seriously. I'm waiting for the to just go blow up. No, he's fantastic. He really, like you said, he was the Batman at the time. I know no one wanted. You got the hat. I got the shirt at the moment with all the little bats on it. It's got to be in. I don't really have much to say. You guys took care of that bottom level there. So we're good.
Kelsey, what do you say about Michael Keaton?
Yeah, I think they pretty much covered it pretty well down below. But yeah, absolutely. He is my favorite live action Batman by far. I miss him as Batman. Honestly, sometimes I kind of wish they would just have an old man Batman in the future with him.
Batman Beyond.
Please,
just begging you.
So mine's an absolute yes. He's by far one of the best Batman in my opinion. So.
We just start with these movies that we're coming up with and just make that reality. The Flashpoint.
The problem is they've been created on the internet. We want them on the big screen.
Yeah. True, yeah.
Coming from DC, Warner Brothers, watch our show.
The amount of times Mark Wiley has come up with good ideas for a Man of Steel sequel that Warner Brothers still haven't picked him up on that.
Right?
But Doug, what is your pick for
cool. I'm definitely going with a kind of out of left field pick, and I think this pick is perfect. I think this pick actually should have probably got brought up earlier because it's probably the most the best portrayal of a character arc story, from going from a helpless lamb to being a warrior in a film, because it's one of my favorite films of all time, and it's Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta as Evey Hammond. I think she is by far one of the best character arcs DC DC property has. If you look at her character arc, she goes from this weak-willed person to leading the rebellion after V passes. So I think, spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 2005. Sorry. Wait, another 15 years, guys. But anyway,
You're on fire. You're on fire.
I'm on fire, man. I'm on fire. No, but I think her performance in this movie is not only just really tragic, but shows you the resilience of being a human.
Unfortunately, you did book and Vale V for Vendetta. It's 2006.
No, it's not. It's 2005. You're wrong. Thank you.
I mean, we've had that debate has happened in the Throwdown. 2005 was the original.
That's the most American
challenge?
response ever.
Hold on, you want a challenge real quick? I'll look it up real quick.
But anyway,
what year does that say? What year does that say? 2005?
As I said, 2005.
Google never lies.
It never does.
Not about movie release dates,
Google is
guys.
law.
or as Anthony likes to call it, the Google.
The Google.
But anyway,
right now, Malcolm really helps.
But anyway, Natalie Portman is great as Evey, and I definitely don't have a problem saying yes to this. So I'm going to say yes to it. Anthony, what do you say of Natalie?
Like Road to Perdition, I forgot that this was possibly on the list because I wasn't sure until I saw a comment. And as he said it, I'm looking at my list and realizing that there are definitely some people on here that are not as good as Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta. So I would definitely say yes to that. She was great in the movie. The movie itself was a fantastic movie. So I would say yes.
Kelsey, what do you say about Natalie?
Yeah, she is on my list as well. She is fantastic in the movie. She's very, like you said, her arc. Sometimes arcs aren't that great. They try to rush through it, and it doesn't make sense happen. Everything that happens to her and how she ends up makes sense, and because she does such a good job of portraying how she's feeling and how she's going through the emotions and everything that happens in the movie. If they would have cast somebody else who wasn't as good, that wouldn't have felt as real as it did with her. So I say yes for sure.
Mark, what would you have said about Natalie?
Oh, she definitely made my list, so it definitely makes sense that she'd be on this list. It's a very hard thing to do, to stand on your own in that film when your protagonist is this guy in a mask and he's doing crazy martial arts blade trickery, and he's spouting off rhetoric about, a lot of words that start with the letter V, and it's like, I didn't realize there were so many. That's insane. And how how do you keep up with that? Well, you hire Natalie Portman. That's how you do it. And for me, it takes her just a second to get into the groove of the English accent, but once she's in it, she's in it. And once she goes through the let's call it the transformation, as it were, being woke to what's going on around her, it's like you feel it. You absolutely feel it, and she just gives us such a remarkable, even just in that one scene, but let alone the whole movie, a remarkable performance. Yes, absolutely on this list.
But Natalie Portman does make the list. Also, we forgot to do this. Natalie. But anyway, back to me, and I'm gonna got two picks in my mind. I'm gonna go with one that, if this one doesn't get brought up, a certain Take 3 member is going to burn the place to the ground. And I'm going Christopher Reeve as Superman. And while I do like some of the other Supermans better, I do think what Christopher Reeve does with the role is good, and it's enough to put him in consideration for this list. Because if it wasn't for him, we may not have gotten the other Superman movies because, once again, like Superman is a big staple of DC along with Batman. I think if those movies never did as well as they did, I think we wouldn't get much of those movies anymore. And so I think Christopher Reeve, I think, is out there when it comes to one of the best portrayals. Anthony, what do you say about Christopher Reeve?
I agree. I think he is a fantastic portrayal. I do love Henry Cavill as Superman. I thought he did a good job too. But Christopher Reeve was that all-American Midwest boy that comes into the city, and he personifies Superman for so long. I feel bad that, if we're going to have to include Quest for Peace, it's going to be in there, and people are going to be like, well, he's out because that sucked. But he was still in the movie itself. He was still Superman. It's kind of hard to take away two fantastic, great movies, one and one absolute trash, to say, no, he can't be on this list. He was Superman for the longest time. He created the Superman persona, and that's what gave us another movie where James Marsden doesn't get the girl, and Henry Cavill in his Superman stuff. So I feel like you got to say yes to Christopher Reeve.
Kelsey, what do you say about Christopher Reeve?
I completely agree. I definitely think Christopher Reeve has to be on this list. I've liked other versions of Superman, all right. Like, I love Henry Cavill, but I feel like he is a great Superman, not as great of a Clark Kent. I feel like Christopher Reeve is wonderful in both ways. Like, he is a completely believable, just American boy, Clark Kent, and then yet when he puts on the costume, he's Superman. He is the Superman that if I think Superman, my mind immediately goes to Christopher Reeves every single time. I vote yes for sure.
Mark, what would you have said about Christopher Reeve?
Well, I was preparing the torches, but I guess I don't have to now because, where you don't have to burn it down. But I was going to help you out because my answer actually was going to be no. Only because I feel like his performance is very dated in those movies, and maybe that's not his fault. Maybe it's because of the way the films were back then, and they just, to me, I don't know. Like, you read a bunch of Superman comics and you realize, wow, Superman in the comics really looks like Superman. Look how jacked he is. Look how Man of Steel. I believe it. I look at Christopher Reeve and go, yeah, he's tall. That's it. And he's got black hair. That's it. Good actor, sure, but I think his acting was way better in other projects he was involved in, and and I'm not trying to disrespect the guy, and you may be right. If the first Superman doesn't succeed, then maybe we don't get the movies that come along. But Quest for Peace was in '87, and then Batman was in '89. And I think we can kind of definitively say that if Batman doesn't work, I don't think the rest of the comic book movies that went on after that, I don't think we get them. I don't think the studios pull the trigger on getting these out there. But that could be just a matter of opinion. But sadly, I would have said no.
I mean, I was doing more about these specific heroes not getting another movie as opposed to superhero movies.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because the next Superman movie after Christopher Peace was Superman Returns in 2006, and there was a big gap between them. But Doug, what would you have said about Christopher Reeve?
Is Matt in the comments? Because I'm just.
He was in the comments at one stage because he left. He left this.
He's gonna boo and hate me. Listen, Christopher Reeve gave us two solid Superman films, and then performances as Superman, and then the other two were really trash. Sorry, I hated the other two movies. I hated them with a passion. You split up Clark Kent and give him an evil person to fight, and it's Clark Kent. Yeah, that's fun. No, trash. But listen, Superman has never really. I mean, the versions of Superman that I love are always Elseworld Supermans. The Kingdom Come Superman's great. Red Sun Superman is fantastic, and we got a version of that. And Brightburn. That's fantastic too. What if he came and was evil? I love it. But no, I don't think his performances are as great as everybody holds it up to. I think his performances are fine. Yes, he made the world believe man could fly, but performance-wise, we're okay.
I feel like it is hard to judge. To say like it doesn't hold up, it's hard to judge somebody from that was acting back then to now because it's a whole different game now. You have the CGI, you have the different abilities, you have all this different stuff with cameras. So to judge someone, you have to think if at that time with Christopher Reeve being Superman, if it might not hold up now, but at that time it was next level. So that's kind of one of the things I feel like is tough to say with, it doesn't hold up as an actor because it's just there's different.
I'm not judging it based off of that. I said the first two were
going back to
good. I think
you were trash. You're 100%
trash.
Yes.
And I'm not judging it off of CGI. I'm judging it off his performance, and his performance were very flat because they couldn't write Superman back in the day. They barely can write him now. He is a Boy Scout, and Boy Scouts are hard to write. He need to take it in the approach of Captain America to give him a little bit of an edge, but not make it too much of an edge. Let's not Zack Snyder him. Let's do something in between.
Easy, Doug. Easy.
Easy,
Doug.
Listen, Man of Steel was fine. He is not my Superman. Man of Steel.
And there it is.
No. First of all, there is no Superman like a Justice League Superman animated series. There. And the end of the movie, the end of Justice League was the closest that we got to an actual depiction of Superman. Superman is a symbol of hope. That's what he's supposed to be. And I'm sorry, he's not in a lot of the movies.
Yeah, well, that's a conversation for another show.
Yeah, sorry. We took that.
We can take that conversation
for a 3-hour show.
Yeah, but anyway.
And I made a joke about it, but I think Matt would have been more upset if Christopher was never brought up at all, as opposed to if he was brought up and just denied from being on the list.
I feel like that'd have been impossible to not at least bring him up.
Anyway, Anthony, it's your turn to bring someone up.
All right, I'll just at this point, I think we need to go with an obvious one, and Joaquin Phoenix was a fantastic Joker, but he came after Heath Ledger, and Heath Ledger really made The Dark Knight. I feel like Mark's got some thoughts going on here where he doesn't really want us to go through, but in The Dark Knight, he redid the Joker. He had that manic, crazy. He had a plan, but didn't have a plan. He just wanted to watch the world burn, which I think was great to go against the Batman persona of the Nolan films. I think he did a great job, and he really just delved right into that role and really became his own version of the Joker. I feel like he was somebody that at least needed to be said. If he doesn't make it through, he doesn't make it through, but he needed to be brought up in this conversation of acting. So I'll go with Heath Ledger.
Kelsey, what do you say about Heath Ledger?
I have started very, very many fights about Joker when it comes to Heath Ledger. So here's going to be my point. This is about acting roles. Heath Ledger is his acting in that movie is incredible. It's a yes for me. We're good. He is one of my least favorite versions of the Joker, though. So I'm saying yes because by acting, he was incredible in this world. He's perfect. I don't know. He's not my favorite version of the Joker, but I still say yes because Heath Ledger is an incredible actor. He nailed that version of the Joker in that movie, and it was a fantastic movie. So, yes.
Mark, what do you say about Heath Ledger?
It's his finest acting work that he's ever done, so it's good he ended things on a high note. My answer is no, and that's all I'm going to say. We don't have the time. We don't have the time.
And I'm gonna take it this way. He's not the next Joker that I would have put up. And no, I'm not talking about a certain Joker, but he is not the next Joker that I would put up if we're gonna put up a Joker. And it's a no.
I like Heath Ledger's role as the Joker. I think it's good, but
shocker.
We've got the best Joker on this list.
He wants to
Oh, I know where you're going with that. I know where you're going.
So yeah, Joker does not make Heath Ledger does not make this list. I mean, part of the other
reason
reason
gonna burn down.
part of the other reason that's going to lead to this no is more the case. I don't want to run the risk of this ending up being a Joker in the top 2 spots.
Yeah.
But it's probably one of my least favorite Jokers too. But Kelsey, what's the next one you're going to bring up?
Okay, I'm having a hard time trying to decide who I want to say next. I'm just gonna go with who I have behind list. We've already talked about how this is not a very good movie, but I love the movie and I love this person in the movie. I feel like she's extremely overlooked, even though her portrayal of this character I feel like is really strong, and that is Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller is an awful human being, and Viola Davis is a wonderful human being, but she still kills it playing Amanda Waller. And I feel like that movie wouldn't have worked if we would have had a weak, not believable Amanda Waller. So that's what I'm putting.
Mark, what do you say about Viola Davis as Amanda Waller?
I'm an idiot for not even putting her on the list. You convinced me. No, that is such a good pull. Yes. I amend my earlier statement when I say only Margot Robbie keeps Suicide Squad going. No, actually, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller keeps it going, because that is the most Amanda Waller esque thing I've seen in any of her depictions, including the CW try and the closest maybe is CCH Pounder's voiceover in the Justice League show. But yeah, no, Viola killed this in Amanda Waller, and I'm kind of hoping, is she going to be in the next Suicide Squad? I hope so.
She's on IMDb for it, so.
Well, yay. I didn't have her on there, so it was going to go completely unnoticed, but you know what? I'm going to go yes.
I can't believe you forgot to mention the version of Amanda Waller that's in Batman Beyond. But
old, like super old.
No, they got flashbacks, because that's the episode where they flashback with Batman.
That's technically Justice League Unlimited, the last episode. So.
Anyway, no, I think she's really good in this movie. I really want her back for the sequel because she is that good. She took the portrayal of Amanda Waller from the comic books, which is someone who's vindictive, who cares about nothing but her country and getting ahead. That is Amanda Waller to a T. Being as cold as saying, no, there's bombs in your head, and you try to do that, and then giving Flag the basic ability to blow off Slipknot's head. I'm okay with it. I 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying yes to Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. It looks like we had the chat right, because we thought we were talking about Angela Bassett's Waller from Green Lantern.
They completely changed her character, so I don't count it.
But I'm saying yes to Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. She makes the list. Anthony, what would you have said?
I did have her on the list. I was between her and Heath Ledger, and thought someone else was going to say Heath Ledger. Clearly,
that was going to be mine if someone else didn't say.
We were on the same page one way or another. But I absolutely had Viola Davis on the list. Mainly just
great pool.
When she just shot everyone dead after they were escaping. I mean, that's just like the biggest bitch move I've ever seen, and it was fantastic. It was the most Amanda Waller thing in a movie I've ever seen. I was like, this is perfect. Like, she needs to be and keep this. And she was on there. I definitely have her on my list.
Mark, what's your next nomination?
Ooh, we're getting down to the wire. So now, I mean, this is where it gets super, super interesting, because I know I have some picks that I'm very nearly certain will get shot down right away. Then I have some picks that I'm pretty sure everybody will be in agreement with. So where to go? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go non-traditional here, the non-obvious. I'm gonna go we'll see where it lands. It may not. There's this movie where starring Keanu Reeves, right? And he does his best as this character named John Constantine.
Does he?
And he does his best for what he's given. However, he is not the standout in his own movie. No, the standout to me is this 5 to 6 minute scene of a supporting character played by Peter Stormare as Lucifer, coming in hot. That's right. He comes in. He's the one soul that will collect John Constantine himself. I didn't know Peter Stormare was going to be in this movie. Like, if you know him, you've seen him from Fargo, you saw him in Armageddon. He likes to pop in to these random side characters, and as Lucifer, in 5 or 6 minutes, however long he's on screen, it's very quick. He not only personifies the wickedness that you'd expect, Satan to have. He's got a lot of charm. He's making jokes. He's like, "Ooh, I can't believe it. I can't believe you made the same mistake twice. Like, what are you doing? It's cool. You know what? Have yourself a smoke. I got all the time in the world, man. You do that." And then he gets outplayed and he gets angry. I mean, we've had a lot of movie depictions of the devil, and we all have our favorites for sure, but Stormare coming in and he's not even chewing up scenery. He's just being his wickedly dastardly self. And honestly, I think it's one of the best scenes in the movie. This movie is, you can say what you want about it. I think it has its moments. It's not great, but it's decent. But I think Stormare's role as Lucifer, his quick cameo, if you will, I love it. I love it. It makes me want to watch the movie just for that scene alone. So yeah, I'm swinging for the fences, and I'm going to say Peter Stormare as Lucifer in Constantine.
Doug, what do you say about Peter Stormare as Lucifer?
Yeah, we've had a better depiction of Lucifer Morningstar on a TV show. Lucifer,
is he though?
Yes, yes, because that's the depiction of Lucifer that I imagine. When you got Lucifer from the comic books,
you like your sexy Lucifers, huh? You like them sexy and young and British.
I like them steamy, British, wingless, or wing later down the season.
Stormare's wingless.
But no,
he's got a suit.
This movie, there's some love for this movie in this community that I just don't understand. I think this movie's hot garbage. This was before Keanu had his renaissance. And I think it's not good. Even going off the one performance, I do think the performance is okay. But we're going off of a comic book character. He's Lucifer Morningstar. That's not Lucifer Morningstar. It's not. If you read anything, Sandman to what they depict him in his own comics, he's a playboy. He is that very much in love with himself, very over-sexualized. He's very over-sexualized in the comic books, good sir. I'm sorry.
Well, they couldn't get David Bowie, so,
That's true. That's true. But no, I don't think he saved the movie even with this little bit of performance. I thought it was good. I just didn't think it was a great performance. Sorry.
Yeah, when you brought up Constantine, that's not the way I thought you were going to go. I've seen this once. I really do not remember this role at all. I'm going to say no.
Treat yourself.
Anthony, what do you say about Peter Stormare as Lucifer?
I mean, if you're going to sit there and say Heath Ledger's acting as the Joker was not worthy of this, I'm definitely not saying Peter Stormare's acting. I love him. I think he's great in all the weird little roles he does, from Big Lebowski to Fargo and all that stuff. He's great in all those things, but they are little roles for the reason that he's solid for the little bit, but he's not overall fantastic. And I don't think I like where you're going with this. I like pulling out the weird ones, but I'm just not going to be able to put him on the 12.
And Kelsey, what would you have gone with Peter Stormare?
I would have to agree with you, Malcolm, where I've seen this movie once and I never revisited it, so I don't even remember really that scene very much.
You rewatch that scene, I guarantee you're all going to look at it differently. Go, I think Mark was on to something here.
But for right now, it has to be a no because I don't remember it.
Or we might end up looking at it like we're thinking Mark was on something right here.
Look, I knew he wasn't going to get picked, but I felt like he deserved his time to shine because none of y'all were going to pull him. So
No. Respect.
But Doug, what is the next?
Guys, all right, so we have missed the greatest Batman of all time. We have not put him on the list. Yeah, you're gonna retract that statement in 1 second. If
maybe.
you're a fan of the Batman animated series, the best Batman that's ever been alive today is a voiceover version of Batman.
That is true.
And I'm putting up Kevin Connery from The Mask of Phantasm. It is theatrically released in '93. He is eligible. He is one of the best Batmans of all time. Not even the best Batman. He is the best Batman and the best Bruce Wayne. He does both characters precisionally well. He's what every person. The reason we get Christian Bale's where is he? And then we get
where's the trigger?
Where's the trigger?
Where is it?
It's because people tried to emulate Kevin Conroy. He is literally the best Batman to ever exist. I was going to go with the best Joker to ever exist, but I think he's done it for so long, and he's done it for so perfectly long. He's the perfect choice.
And it's stricken from the record because this was live action only.
Live action.
Well, what I was about to say is, to be fair, I didn't actually tell Doug any of this.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know.
I would have said that way earlier.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that would have been the first thing.
Cool.
So yeah, Doug, I'll give you another shot.
But I loved your moment. I loved your passion, and I completely agree with you. But stricken from the record, it does not count.
It doesn't.
Live acting will be one on as a separate list. So.
There you
Got
go.
you. Oh man, my heart was still there for so long.
Now, hopefully, you have enough passion for your replacement. I believe in you.
I believe in myself too. Thank you.
I'm just going to leave this up here until Doug sees it.
Right. I get passionate about things, guys, and I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to go do it because I think his performance in this movie is fantastic. I think the way that he acts like a 12-year-old boy or 15-year-old boy, I forget how old Billy Batson is, but I'm going with Sam Levine as Shazam. I think his the adult
Sam Levine?
Sam Levine.
I really said Sam Levine. I did that.
You really did.
I really did, guys. Yeah, I'm with it right now.
I didn't look at the wrong movie. I didn't see Sam Levine.
Sam Levine was in there, guys. He did a cameo. It was great. It was behind the scenes. Zachary Levi is who I meant. Oh my God, I'm never gonna live that down because it's happened to me once before. Because I don't know why I couldn't pull it.
It's okay. We're not recording this.
We're not recording. No, it's not.
It's not gonna be up on the internet forever.
No.
I think. Right.
I'd watch that.
He played a person that slayed people before. I'm cool with it. But I want that to happen. All right, so let's actually talk about the performance that Zachary Levi gave. I think Zachary Levi did a fantastic job in this. He had to basically be a kid in an adult body, and the way that he portrayed that was excellent. You didn't for a second believe that he was just acting like a kid. He was a kid. Performance-wise, I think it's great. It's he fell into the role without any, like, you didn't see him miss a step, like how you saw like Gal Gadot at one point miss a step, or like Natalie Portman kind of fall into the role a little bit. You saw him be this character as soon as he was on film, and you would believed it when he was cast. It was sort of like a Michael Keaton thing. We're gonna get Chuck to be Shazam. We're gonna get that guy that was in that sequel of Alvin and Chipmunks to be Shazam. But no, I think he's phenomenal in this movie. And if we're gonna put anybody up besides maybe Asher himself, I mean, I think Zachary is the perfect person to put up.
Also, side note, Brian's corrected a comment I put up on the chat. It's actually Coy that manages Shazam. But anyway, I'm Zachary Levi's on my list. I do think he's a great actor, and I kind of wish he got more to do in his role as Vandal in the MCU. But yeah, I'm going to say yes. Anthony, what do you say about Zachary Levi's Shazam?
I also had Zachary Levi on my list, and he was going to be my next person that I pulled out if no one else said him. I thought, like, the movie itself, it came out, I was kind of excited for it. I know it was about Shazam. It's, it's a kid in a superhero's body. It's like, it's a fun premise, and Zachary Levi just being basically a kid in an adult body in real life was perfect for this role. He did a great job. He was funny. He was entertaining. He still had all of the little quips that a kid would have. He still had the kind of naivety that a kid would have trying to be an adult. So I thought it was very good. I definitely had him on my list. I like the movie, and he definitely deserves to be, I think, in the top 12 for this.
Kelsey, what do you say about Zachary Levi's Shazam?
Yeah, I have to agree. And a grown man pretending to be a young kid could go very, very wrong if not done correctly. It could be creepy in ways, and Zachary Levi, it just makes him seem lovable and fun, and that way that age group is, as a person as a child is getting close to that age group, really snarky and mouthy and gets on your nerves. He does that really well too. It's very convincing. So I think he did a great job in the role, and definitely yes.
And Mark, what would you have said about Zachary Levi?
He made the honorable mention list, but just by a hair. But I'm not mad at it. I'm actually, I think, yeah, you're everything you guys said pretty much secures why he deserves this place here. And matter of fact, watching the movie, I'm only interested in the Billy Batson character when he's Shazam. When he's Kid Billy, maybe it's because of the performance or maybe it's the writing. I don't know, but I just go like, I don't want Billy. Like, say Shazam, get out of here, get Levi back in there so I can see more of him. Because you're right, he is a child in that movie and he makes it work. When he was initially cast, because I remember thinking, I don't think they're going to make Shazam work because I don't think anyone's going to be able to pull that off at all. And they said, we cast Zachary Levi. I went, yeah, that works. Yep, you got me. You stole me. So, yep, yeah, absolutely. So yeah. I'm totally fine with it. I agree.
Also, if someone out there is good with Photoshop, Photoshop Sam Levine's face onto Shazam. See what it looks like.
The big bulky
yeah. But anyway, it's back to me, and I'm going to go for this one because I think this is one of the best interpretations of this character. I'm going for Amy Adams as Lois from Man of Steel, Batman v Superman onwards. But yeah. I think Amy Adams is one of the best ones to play Lois, just because I think she has all that kind of mannerisms that Lois would have, and she kind of brings it out in ways that I have trouble explaining in words. But I think she's probably one of the better actors in the DCU. Below Margot Robbie, obviously, but yeah. Anthony, what do you say about Amy Adams as Lois?
I do think Amy Adams is a good actress, but like you kind of said, she only sort of brought out the Lois Lane character. I think she is good as an actress. I think there's a lot of movies that she does a great job, but as Lois Lane, I just never really felt. I never really felt like she was always there. Like she did her. She does hate Amy Adams. It's shocking to me. But what I deal with.
Not a fan of gingers, are you?
How do you feel about Jessica Chastain? That's the question.
I'm not sure how she feels. I don't even know if she knows who it is. I just don't feel like she really personified the role enough to really be a good Lois Lane. I don't really think anyone really has done a great job as Lois Lane. And so she knows who she is. Apparently. Oh, you all heard that? Yeah, she knows who she is.
Hold out.
Anyway, I just don't think she does a good enough job to portray Lois Lane when she definitely would have the chops to make Lois Lane fantastic and just didn't really do it.
Kelsey, what do you say about Amy Adams as Lois?
Yeah, I have to focus on it. I feel like in certain scenes of the movie she's in, she does a strong job, but overall, she is not my favorite in those movies. I feel like she just does the bare minimum what needs to get done, and then she's out of the scene, and that's it. And I don't like think later on like, man, I really liked Lois Lane in that film. She just does her part, and can we kind of move on? So it would be a no from me as well. I feel like she's capable of making that role awesome. I don't know if it's a script issue or just what happened, but yeah, I just didn't enjoy her as Lois very much.
Mark, what do you say about Amy Adams?
Can I just make a request that Christina scream her commentary from now on, like periodically when she has a hot take, just scream it out so we can hear it via. Because that was hysterical. So thank you very much for that. I think Amy Adams is a phenomenal actress. I think she's great. I think her addition to the Worlds of DC extended universe, whatever you want to call it, is very a much needed addition. And I like her Lois Lane a lot, but I don't think in the wide spectrum of DC live action films is she in the top 12 tier. This is just my personal opinion. So, but I love her as Lois Lane. I don't know if they figured out what to do with her as the movies have progressed and they keep bringing her back. She just seems to get a little too meddling. And it's a little annoying. Like in Batman vs Superman, that's all she's doing is meddling, and like maybe one or two scenes where she's doing her job, but it's like, to what end? Yeah, well, crash away, because that commentary of you yelling is hilarious. So, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go with a no.
Doug, what would you say about Amy Adams?
This is not a good depiction of Lois Lane. Lois Lane is not a love interest. I know that she's depicted in some comics as a love interest, but she has always been a journalist first. And I wish they would have stuck more with that. I wish she would have stuck more with the Man of Steel route than becoming that love interest, because she was a love interest later on in the film, and that's all she was. I don't think there's ever been a correct depiction of Lois Lane. Man of Steel got the closest. But again, I got to judge it on all her performances, and it's not her fault. It's honestly not. It's a script issue. I don't know if it's a script issue of not knowing how to write a woman who's strong, independent, doesn't need Superman, can go out and basically get herself out of trouble majority of the time, because that's the Lois Lane that I love. When I love reading that type of Lois Lane. And seeing her on film would be great. But yeah, I think if she was maybe given more to work with, and they wrote her better, it'd be a better character to watch.
Yeah,
I agree. Man of Steel is the closest I think they've gotten, but it's still it's not fully there.
Yeah,
I think what's her face, who's Lois in the Arrowverse at the moment, is really good.
We'll see. That remains to be seen. She's getting a show. We'll see.
Yeah,
but everybody, what's the next one you're going to bring out? Got 2 spots left.
2 spots. All right, I got 2 villains here, but I think I'll go with the one I believe people might agree with a little bit.
3 spots.
Okay, 3 spots. I feel a little bit better then. I'm going to go with the Batman villain that sadly wound up getting her own movie. That was terrible. But in Batman Returns, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman was fantastic. I feel like she absolutely has to be part of that. She had the perfect amount of the initial, before she became Catwoman. She was the nerd. She was always picked on. Then she had the transformation. She had that sexiness that you're looking for in a Catwoman actress. She had the ability to be the kind of anti-hero on occasion and the villain. And I just think the movie itself was great. You still get the Michael Keaton Batman, which was awesome. But Michelle Pfeiffer it basically personified Catwoman. Halle Berry destroyed it, and Anne Hathaway was a person in a movie. So at that point, I have to put in Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. My pick.
Anthony's picking with a purpose. But Kelsey, what do you think about Michelle Pfeiffer?
I completely agree. She is one of my absolute favorite in the movies, Batman villains. Her transformation, she did a very great job of portraying a very meek woman that does not stand up for herself and then turns into this vixen that I feel like every young man or woman may have gotten a crush on at the time because she's just so magnetic and engaging on the screen. Her chemistry with Keaton is fantastic, which is very important between the two because that's my favorite Batman relationship of all time is Batman and Catwoman. So I say absolutely yes.
Mark, what do you say about Michelle Pfeiffer?
We've had many Catwomen over the years, and but Michelle Pfeiffer, I mean, she's in my top 3 of the list that I made. So I have to say yes because of all the reasons.
That one from Mark, yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I was very much aware of who Catwoman was when I was a kid before the movie came out, and even as a comic reader, this Selina Kyle is very different than her comic book counterpart, yet it's still there. Like the spirit of Selina Kyle is still there. You talked about the chemistry between Keaton and Pfeiffer in the movie, and yeah, it's completely there. Without it, that whole subplot does not work. It falls apart. And she did. She stole your heart. She was able to hold on to it while also reminding you, I'm still kind of a villain, but you like me because you understand. Like we see her character journey. Like we understand why she would go in the direction she did. Sympathetic. You're having sympathetic for your villain, and she's not even really a villain. She's an anti-hero, but she's just kind of fighting Batman at the same time. Yeah, I could go in further and further about how my young adolescents felt about her in the costume, but I won't do that here. I'm classy like that. I will just say yes, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Doug, what would you have said about Michelle Pfeiffer?
This version of Catwoman's it's good. I like her as Catwoman. Again, she is very different from the comic books. But that doesn't always necessarily mean bad. Different doesn't necessarily always mean bad. But for me, I think she's just really dated in this movie. Like, I don't know. She's already made the list anyway. You guys are good. She's on the list, so there's one left anyway. But
you're struggling.
Me, I really am because I don't want to be mean. I really don't. I just don't think this is a good portrayal of Catwoman. I really don't. When we're talking about transferring over, I think there's parts of every performance that can be at least summed up in every actor that we picked so far. I don't think this is the correct Catwoman. I don't think there is a correct Catwoman, but she's already on the list.
I was worried if you had Catwoman that's been out here that you were going to say like recently.
66 Catwoman, she got it right.
How about
yeah, I may have put Halle Berry on the thumbnail for this, but I did not do that because I thought she was a great performance. I just put that because the picture I found, those are the ones that shown there, and I knew like, I'll throw this on. I'll mess with people's heads to put them to figure what could make the list. But anyway, I do like Michelle Pfeiffer. She's not my favorite Catwoman. My favorite Catwoman is actually Anne Hathaway. Come fight me, but
she's not Catwoman in it though. She's just Selina Kyle.
She's a person.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Selina Kyle.
But I get you. I hear you though. I hear you.
I mean, just like Barry Allen is not technically the Flash in the movies because he's never called the Flash. So
it's also not Barry Allen. He's Wally West. I will argue all day. I will argue all day. He is Wally West. He's not Barry Allen. He's too good to be Barry Allen.
You're not wrong. You are
You're
not
wrong
incorrect.
there at all.
But anyway, I probably would have given Michelle Pfeiffer a slight yes, even if it is more for strategic purposes than anything. But I don't have a problem for being on the list. But Kelsey, we've got one spot left. Can you fill that slot?
Probably not. We've said most of the ones on my list. I've been trying to figure out which one of my honorable mentions I'm going to list. So I'm just going to go with this one, I guess, because we haven't talked about this movie, maybe for reasons. But I'm going to go with Willem Dafoe as Vulko and Aquaman. I really enjoyed him in the movie. I didn't enjoy much else in that movie other than visuals, to be honest. But I liked him. I thought he was an interesting character. I always loved Willem Dafoe. I think he was a very talented actor. So that's what I'm putting up.
Mark, what do you say about Willem Dafoe from Aquaman?
I think that if they continue Vulko's presence within these Aquaman movies, the way Vulko is portrayed in the New 52 series that Jeff Johns wrote, then that could be a really good arc for him as an actor. The problem is I don't think they have the balls to do it, and so I don't think they'll do it. Therefore, this performance seems like it's a one and done. And frankly, I mean, I love Dafoe, but there's a lot of characters in Aquaman that are less interesting than him, but then there are a few that are more, and so he's just kind of there, and I think for the time he's given and for the way he's written in the movie, I think he does as good a job as he could do. He's not overly hamming it up like Green Goblin, he's not doing too little. He's doing just enough, but not enough to where I would warrant that. Yeah, he deserves a spot in the top 12. So I got to say no.
Doug, what would you have said? What do you say about Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, he's no. I sound like a broken record tonight. He's a no because I differ from Mark. I think he played the perfect Green Goblin. I think that was a really great role for him because Green Goblin from the comic books is very eccentric when he's in his Green Goblin form.
Oh, I like it, but he's hamming.
But so does Green Goblin. Green Goblin hams it up so much. He walks around and he throws pumpkin grenades. You can't get more ham. But I think Valko was written kind of bland. It was the traditional training montage and you can do it attitude, and like Valko for me it's in the New 52 they really did write him really well, and he's kind of in depth as a character, and I think if they kind of went in that route, I agree with Mark. I think it would be a fantastic role. You've seen Dafoe get deep with characters, and I think he could kill that role, but I don't think he did a great job. He did an okay job. But it wasn't any thrilling. Wasn't like, oh, that's a role to remember him for.
Yeah, I mean, out of everyone that you could have picked from Aquaman, Dafoe, as much as I like him, is probably not the one I would have gone with. I actually like, and not just because I'm Kiwi, but I probably would have gone Timmy Morrison as Arthur Curry's dad over Vulko. He was great.
That's biased voting.
But yeah,
and you know it.
Well, it's not that. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of characters I probably would have picked over Vulko anyway. That was just one of them. But Anthony, what would you have said about Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have put him in there. I mean, I love him as an actor, like the roles that he like hands up Green Goblin, or just absolutely insane, like Boondock Saints, which I love, and stuff like that. But in this movie, I watched Aquaman once. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was anything too spectacular, but I kind of forgot he was in it. Like he's there. He does, like you said, the training montage is there for a second, and it's just kind of background. I think there's definitely better people in Aquaman, but as much as I love Dafoe, I don't think I could put him in for DC.
But if that we go to Mark, can you fill up the final spot?
Probably not, but I'm gonna try. This is probably, I mean, at the risk of going straight into another obvious answer, and at the risk of putting a character that may or may not already be on the list, but just played by somebody else. Here we go. Well, no, because that's the same argument too. So, all right, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm gonna go for it.
Do it. Do it.
We've had many depictions over what we believe to be the true superhero in comics and movies, and the one that started it all is Superman. I did a whole podcast based on the difference between a Superman movie and a movie of Superman on his journey to becoming Superman. We're talking a Kal-El story, and we've never gotten that story on film until 2013 in Man of Steel. I'm going with Henry Cavill as Clark Kent / Kal-El, and at the very end, he becomes Superman. Remember, the movie's not called Superman Begins. It's not called Superman anything. It's Man of Steel, because that's who he is. He's Kal-El. He's trying to figure out his place in the world. Not can he be Superman? Obviously he can with all the things he can. It's should he? That's what everyone doesn't seem to understand about this movie. It's a question of should he become this god on earth? Not can he? Obviously he can, but should he? It's a moral quandary. It's a story we've never gotten on film, and it asks important questions. It is incredibly underappreciated. I will harp on that movie until the day I die, and it'll probably happen. I will be dead, and that's what will kill me, just me arguing about it. But you can say what you will about the film, but Henry Cavill not only had the look of Superman, something frankly we've never gotten. Christopher Reeve was tall. Brandon Routh was tall and looked like Christopher Reeve. Henry Cavill put on the muscle, he had the look, the smile, he had everything Clark Kent would need. And he actually, he just looks better as Superman. He plays the part, especially a Clark Kent that is so unsure of himself. He has to teeter around all the edges in order to not break everything around him. He's had to learn to become more human on his time on Earth. So I feel like, and you can see the pain and the struggle in his eyes throughout the movie, and coming with the decision of having to fight the very people that he thought he was the only one that existed. He has to fight them. I mean, it's all there on Cavill's face. It's all there in his performance. I know I'm going to get outvoted for this one, but I do not care. That if we want to do the hashtag, that's my Superman, or actually hashtag not my Superman is the predecessor to release the Snyder Cut, by the way. Anyway, but if you want to do hashtag my Superman, it's Henry Cavill as Clark Kent in Man of Steel. There it is. Go ahead, Doug. Hit me with your best shot.
Hit me with your best shot. Okay, so it's the same problem that I have with every actor. All right, we're putting him up for a role. You count all three movies. With as great as Man of Steel was, it's not that he's not my Superman. I just think they have a hard time depicting of what really Superman is. You get the lines in that movie is, what does that S stand for? It stands for hope. Then show me hope. I got no hope in that movie. None. I got a tweak. He's literally walking around in the beginning of the movie super depressed. Clark Kent wasn't super depressed in that movie. His father dies of a heart attack of an old age in the comic books. Like it's not let's pound him and make him so depressed that he can't realize his destiny. And then he has to die for him to be able to realize his destiny. And you go through three movies till you finally get the symbol of hope. And we're not even going to get that symbol of hope in an actual Superman movie. That's what makes me mad about this. His performance is okay. Over three movies, it's not okay. It goes down in each movie, and it's not until he actually puts a smile on your face when you're sitting in the theater at the end of Justice League, when he's racing Belial to save people, and you get a laugh and like, that's Superman. You feel good about watching Superman on screen. I felt horrible watching this version of Superman. Do you understand? Like, I felt depressed going into that.
I don't
But he had
understand.
to kill his own people. He had to kill his own people at the end of the first Superman movie. He had to
Man of Steel.
basically first Superman movie in that series. Because let's be honest,
But he's not Superman yet.
Okay, in
No,
Man of
it's not
Steel,
Superman
he
movie.
has
There
to
you go.
basically, and he basically makes his entire race extinct.
Or they were going to do the same to the humans. I mean, what do you want? You know,
I
he had to make a
understand
choice.
But I understand that. But there's other ways that he could have dealt with them. Literally, there's a thing called the Phantom Zone that they chose not to introduce. They did, and then they broke out of it. But guess what he has? He has the Fortress of Solitude. Guess what that could show him? How to make another Phantom Zone so he can put them away.
He didn't have that in Man of Steel.
All right. But he has the access to it. Could he not go to the ship where there was the whole thing where he was working at one point?
Yeah. Zod stole it, and he had to destroy it to beat Zod.
Not at the beginning of the movie when he was up there.
That's the same ship Zod stole, though. So that was the fortress, and it was destroyed.
Okay, but
What else?
still, he made his entire speed. It's not Superman. I love.
No, it's Man of Steel.
But then he's called Superman.
At the end, that's what I said. At the end.
And that's not Superman at the end of that movie. That's not. You don't symbolize hope when you terrorize the people that you're there to protect.
The Kryptonians terrorized the people, not Clark, not Kal-El. Kal-El saved them.
He still destroyed an entire city and was looked at like he was causing the problem.
That is called a hazard of war, is what that is. You have two superpowered beings like Zod and Kal-El fighting. What do you think is going to happen?
Okay.
Right, that's the one that's supposed to go.
Is that a no for Henry Cavill from you?
That's a no for Henry Cavill.
Yeah, just I had as much as I enjoyed that back and forth, I had sort of step in before this actually does become a longer than the longest episode of Rick. But I'm gonna keep my answer short. I like it. I like Henry Cavill. He is my favorite Superman. But I'm gonna for the similar reason I said no to Heath Ledger for Joker. I think we do have the best Superman on the list. So yeah, it's going to be a no for me. Anthony, what do you say about Henry Cavill?
I mean, that was entertaining to watch.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's fine. I agree. I think Man of Steel is a little underrated. The first time I watched it, I hated it. I watched it again. I was like, okay, you know what? I get it. Henry Cavill looks like Superman. That is what he is. But, however, I don't think he was as good of an actor as Superman as he could have been, as a Christopher Reeve was a better actor than Henry Cavill, which is why I put him in there, because we're talking about the acting performances. We're not talking about how they look. So if you want to go that way, I don't think Henry Cavill just had the chops, especially when you start bringing him in the Justice League and Batman v Superman, which were just not good movies. It just wasn't there. Don't get me wrong. Henry Cavill looks like Superman. I know my wife thinks he's hot. I think he's hot because he is. And he looks like Superman. But as an actor, he's just...
I was waiting for the scream.
But I just don't think as an actor, he's one of the top actors in the DC.
Kelsey, what would you have said about Henry Cavill?
I enjoy Henry Cavill a lot as Superman. I definitely think he looks the part. By far, he looks very good as Superman. I also I do have issues with Man of Steel. I love the movie overall. There's a few things here and nitpick a little bit, so I don't watch it as much. I do agree. I think we have the best Superman already on the list. I'm gonna say I would have said yes though, because I do like Henry Cavill. So I would have. There you go.
Doug, we go back to you for
let's
the last spot.
Hopefully I can close this out.
You better wow me, Doug. You better wow me.
I got you, bro. I got you. I'm going to go actually outside again. I know I said I went outside with Natalie Portman, but I think I'm really going outside right now with A History of Violence. I think this movie is fantastic, and one of the best performances in this movie. You guys think it might be the lead, but I actually think it's a different character. I think Ed Harris in this movie is superb. I think he is an insane character. I loved watching every minute of him in this movie. I think he kind of like captivated the screen every time he was on it. Anthony looks like he's has something to say, so I'll make it short. I do really think I think he's well deserved of being noticed in this movie. I think he's well deserved to be noticed in this movie. I think he's great, and I think he plays a really good sadistic character.
So you're going with Ed Harris.
Ed Harris as Carl Fogarty in A History of Violence.
Yep, it's Garth said. I don't know who he is, but sadly,
I'll message him.
I was going to watch A History of Violence yesterday. Things came up. I never got around to it. I still haven't got around to seeing it, so I can't really say anything about this. Anthony, what do you say about Ed Harris and A History of Violence?
Come on.
My reaction was simply due to the simple fact of I love this movie. I think this is a great movie, and I didn't even think about it until he started talking about the other ones. I was like, oh, let me look through. I'm like, oh shit, History of Violence is on here? That movie's fantastic. I agree with you. Ed Harris is fantastic. He's just, I mean, I haven't watched the movie in a while, but I do always remember every time I run past it when I'm looking at my movies, I'm like, I got to watch that again. And Ed Harris was fantastic in that movie. Viggo Mortensen was also great, but Ed Harris was just the better actor in it. 100% with you. I have some people here I was looking at, but some of them just aren't even close to the status of that movie or Ed Harris in that movie. So I'll leave it up to the last two, but I'm with you on that. I'm absolutely thinking he should be in.
Kelsey, are you going to make PLD happy or sad?
I'm pretty sure PLD would murder me or boot me off screen if I said no to this because Ed Harris is his favorite human of all time. But no, I have to agree. Ed Harris is one of the best actors working, and he just kills it in that role. That movie is great. I feel like most people are amazing in that movie, but Ed Harris is just he kills it. So I'll say yes.
And Mark, what do you say about Ed Harris on History of Violence?
History of Violence was in my top 3, but not this character. And you nearly had me, Doug. You nearly had me, and you went with the wrong character. And I'm baffled that now this one's going to make the top 12 because Ed Harris is very good in this movie. He's not in it very much. And he's basically spitting off the same rhetoric about like, Joey took my eye, Joey. I would actually contend that Maria Bello's performance is better in A History of Violence than Ed Harris. I would even contend the Oscar-nominated performance of William Hurt, all 7 minutes he's in it, is slightly better, slightly better. But no, for me personally, it's Viggo. It's Viggo doing the whole switch from Tom Stahl, everyday man, to sadistic Joey, the one we keep hearing about from Ed Harris. Like, oh, there he is. He shows up and just wrecks shop. So my pick would have been Viggo for A History of Violence. I think Ed Harris is great in this, but top 12 in DC movies? No, but it doesn't matter. There he is.
I'll just Anthony, did you say yes or no? I can't remember.
You said yes.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. I just thought I'd make sure because I couldn't actually remember. The way you said you'll leave it up to the other two was like, yeah. That's what. But with that, we have got the top 12 on the list.
Quite the array.
But just to recap, who has made the list? We've got Jackie Earle Haley from Rorschach, Margot Robbie for Harlequin, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, Tom Hanks for Mike Sullivan, Michael Caine as Alfred, Michael Keaton as Batman, Natalie Portman as Evey, Christopher Reeve as Soups, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, Zachary Levi as Shazam, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and Ed Harris as from A History of Violence. Anthony, do you have any honorable mentions?
A few. I had how the hell you pronounce this guy's first name? I think it's Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow. I thought he did a great job in Batman Begins. I thought it was well done. I mean, Christian Bale I had on the list, but Michael Keaton's in there. I thought he was the better Batman. Christian Bale just the deep voice. It is what it is. Gary Oldman, and one of the weirder ones. Green Lantern was a terrible movie, but I thought Mark Strong as Sinestro did a good job of doing the "Hey, I'm good" and then going into bad throughout the movie. So that was kind of one of those I was going to throw in there late if I had another chance to see what people thought.
Kelsey, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, I had some weird ones in there. I also had Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow because I love him as Scarecrow. Jack Dylan Grazer as Freddy on Shazam. I thought he was awesome in that part. I had Jared Letter's Joker on there because I actually do enjoy him as Joker, but that was not going to be said probably. And then Robin Wright as Antiope on Wonder Woman. That's what I had.
Mark, what honorable mentions did you have?
Yeah, I had a lot of ones. Mark Strong definitely for Sinestro, and Type by Robin Wright. Of course, Affleck as Batman, and I'll still be screaming that one for probably till I die, but that's okay. And then actually I had Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. I thought he was actually really he might have been one of the better parts of I don't want to say the better parts. I'll just say his performance is one of the better performances in that movie, and I think he does it really well. So yeah. And then we've mentioned some of the other ones that didn't make the list that were also there as well.
Doug, I know you came in last minute, but did you have any honorable mentions?
Sure, let me throw a couple out. Let's go with Gene Hackman as Lex. I think that's a classic version of Lex. Very cartoon version of Lex. You could even say let's do Hugo Weaving as V. To be able to put that compelling character, I think is with just voice is ridiculously good. And actually, the Jeffrey Dean Morgan portrayal that I would have did, because I think he was phenomenal in this movie. This movie may not be the greatest movie ever, but I think his version of Lieutenant Colonel Franklin Clay is fantastic in Losers. I think he's funny. I would also actually put up Chris Evans too, because I think this is a comic version. Right? It's his in between becoming Captain America and being Johnny Storm. I think it's great. I think this movie is a little underrated too. I think it's actually pretty funny.
You right?
Yeah,
it is good.
For me, I also had Jared Leto on my list. Which could have got really interesting if they came
I
up.
almost brought it up a few times. And I'm like, I don't want to get yelled at, so I'm just going to skip it.
Hey, I brought up Lucifer. You should have done it. You should have brought up Leto.
I mean, I had Wyman was Hal Jordan. I thought he was great as the role of Hal in Green Lantern, even though the movie wasn't that great. I also had Ben Affleck as Batman. I think he's the better Batman. And also one that I am surprised didn't come up. I had Hugo Weaving as V. I think he was great in that. Although I think John Roker did it better. But that aside, we get to the fun part of ranking this list. So write down who you want at number 12 on a whiteboard or bit of paper or anything that you've got lying around.
Ready to make people mad.
Okay, we've already done that plenty.
Oh, no. Don't read the comments.
Oh, I always read the comments. It's entertaining to watch the shit show we create.
I mean, it's one of those ones like I do like Heath Ledger as Joker. Like my reasoning for saying no was more I didn't really want to have two of the same character on here. Personally,
that's why you voted against my Superman. I knew it.
That was a straight up revenge vote.
Sounds like it.
No, my revenge vote was more around Michael Caine, Michael Keaton one. But
yeah.
Anthony, what do you have for 12?
Just because he wasn't in the movie as much as I love the movie, I just went Ed Harris for 12. Name it just.
Kelsey.
I also had Ed Harris.
Mark.
It was the wrong character. Should have said Vigo.
Probably would have been 12 for me though.
Doug.
No, I went Christopher Reeve.
And I went Jackie Earle Haley.
That's
What? Are we doing this Tropic Thunder thing all over again, Malcolm?
I don't know, but maybe.
Oh,
I couldn't be bothered writing the whole title.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
And I didn't know what his character's name was called. But Kelsey, what do you have for 11?
I have Zach Levi.
Mark, who do you have for 11?
Christopher Reeve.
Doug. I've still got Jackie Earle Haley.
Here we go.
Anthony.
I also went Christopher Reeve for 11. Just Superman's thing. Now what?
That's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of an issue here.
Ugh.
Come on.
Kelsey, who do you have for 10?
Still Zach Levi.
Mark.
I went with Natalie Portman.
Doug.
Where is she? Michelle Pfeiffer.
Who are you?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be alone here because I did decide to
Did you
change
change
my. Yes, I mean Michelle Pfeiffer.
Wow. Dead to me.
Anthony.
I went Michael Caine for this one. But
Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be 10.
That hurts my heart.
oh, that was
I mean, just think. If I kept Jackie Earle Haley, we would have all been tied because all we had someone different. It would have gone to the chat. So that they could have tried to hurt us. So.
Come on, Anthony. Just wondering why you're right.
Because I might have just erased it because I'm just so used to erasing things.
Mark, who do you have for 9?
Natalie Portman.
Doug.
Michael Caine.
I'm back on the Jackie Earle Haley train.
Yep. I just rewrote it because I erased it. Michael.
All right.
Kelsey.
Zachary Levi.
Trying to trick everybody here.
Michael Caine is going to be 9.
Seems fair. Oh man.
Doug, who do you have for 8?
Don't let me down. Zachary Levi.
I've got Jackie Earle Haley.
God.
Anthony.
I went Natalie Portman this time.
Kelsey.
I have Zachary Levi still.
Mark.
No joke. Almost changed it, but I didn't. Natalie Portman.
Oh, Malcolm.
And just on brand, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to surprise everyone.
Ooh, changing it again.
Well, no, because we've got two Natalie Portmans, two Zachary Levi's, I was the only one that was different.
Right.
So it comes down to me to break the tie.
Okay.
Yikes.
I just like Zachary Levi more.
Yeah, performance-wise, yikes. And I put him up.
That's like, I put him up. I'm allowed to say where he goes.
Drastically behind right now.
But
I think you're up.
But yeah, it is
Jackie Earle.
Jackie Earle. Yeah.
All right.
Anthony.
Yeah, I don't like this. This is the last second one. Viola Davis. Mainly, she's just not in it that much.
Kelsey.
Still Zachary Levi.
Mark.
Zachary Levi.
And Doug.
Zachary Levi.
There it is.
Yay. What about something else now?
Man. This is getting...
Anthony, who do you have for 6?
I went back to Viola Davis.
Kelsey.
I don't like
Back to Earle Haley.
Back.
Viola Davis.
Doug.
Thank God, Viola Davis.
No.
Jackie Earle.
Oh, I don't have to scroll down and see the names anymore. Crap.
Kelsey, who do you have for 5?
Still Jackie Earle Haley.
Mark.
Michael Caine.
I think
Mike
He's
Caine's
gone.
he gone.
Oh, is he gone?
Yeah.
Michael Caine get 9.
Sorry.
We're down to Jackie Earle Haley, Margot Robbie, Tom Hanks, Joaquin Phoenix, and Michael Keaton.
Oh, Jesus. I'm so sorry.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Give me
Yeah,
a
it's not easy.
Okay.
Basically, the first 4 and Michael Keaton.
Margot Robbie.
Doug.
Margot Robbie.
Oh.
Jackie Earle Haley.
So,
I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
oh,
Disrespectful.
5 is very respectful.
5 is respectful.
Look who she's with in that roster. Very respectful.
Yeah, really. She beat out Michael Caine. It's Michael Caine. That's respectful right there. All right. What do I have here? Yeah, man. I think this one's gonna pain me.
But Mark, what do you have for 4?
This one's gonna hurt. This one's gonna hurt my heart. I'm trying to keep track of all the ones that are left.
Yeah, we've got Jackie Earle Haley, Joaquin Phoenix, Tom Hanks, and Michael Keaton.
Gotcha. All right, Jackie Earle Haley.
Doug.
4 is very respectable. Jackie Earle Haley.
That's true.
Jackie Earle Haley. Anthony.
I actually went Michael Keaton.
Kelsey.
Jackie Earle Haley.
It did hurt to say, though.
No, it hurt to say. Absolutely. That hurt to write down and say.
Yeah.
Should have been lower.
No.
You're the one that under 12 for Robert Downey Jr. movies. It made it all the way to 4.
I mean, so did Jackie Earle Haley.
You are determined, though, Malcolm. I do appreciate it. You're determined.
He sits on a hill and stays on it.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is it me?
Yeah, it's you, Doug.
Yeah.
Malcolm's still writing.
I'll go. I have something written by the time you say it.
Oh, okay. Michael Keaton.
I was going to go one way, then I remembered Michael Keaton was still there. Anthony.
Yeah, I erased and wrote it again. Michael Keaton.
Kelsey.
And Tom Hanks.
I also had Tom Hanks, and I don't win in either one of these scenarios.
Yeah.
Back.
Damn it.
Once you get to the top 5, no one wins.
Yeah.
And this time, instead of writing your number 2, it's going straight to number 1.
I don't feel good about this one either, but fine.
As a number 1?
Yeah, no.
I feel perfectly fine.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Lord.
But for me, number 1 is going to be, and I'm sorry, Adelaide, but I do like his performance, Joaquin Phoenix. Anthony.
I had him as number 1.
Kelsey.
I did it as well.
Yeah, I wrote down my number 2, but yeah, by default, number 1's Joaquin.
Doug.
Hey guys, send in the clowns.
It's a unanimous number 1. Very surprisingly, it's very weird to happen.
Seems
Right down the last one.
But yeah, I'm happy that old Mike Sullivan made it all the way to number 2. I'm fine with that. That's fine.
I mean, like, it's one of those ones, like, for me, I wasn't going to bother voting for people for movies I've never seen.
Right, right.
Just out of principles, like, and everyone else may have forgotten or really like the performance that much. But just to recap, our top 12. At number 12, we've got Ed Harris for A History of Violence. At 11, we've got Christopher Reeve in Superman. At 10, we got Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. I was about to mistakenly say Michael Pfeiffer for Catwoman.
Different movie there.
But just because next up we had Michael Caine for Alfred. 8, Natalie Portman for evey. 7, we got Zachary Levi or maybe Sam Levine as Shazam. At 6, we got Viola Davis as Amanda Wallace. 5, we got Margot Robbie as Harlequin.
Very respectable.
At 4, we got Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach. At 3, we got Michael Keaton as Batman. Number 2, we got Tom Hanks as Michael Sullivan. At number 1, we got Joaquin Phoenix, the best Joker. This was a fun list. And we're probably going to be crucified for Heath Ledger, but we had reasons for not putting him on. Really.
Longer show. That's for a longer show.
It is. But I'll have the poll with the options for next week up in a bit. But Anthony, where can people find you online?
On my name on Facebook and Instagram, because I have no channels or anything of that sort. I'm on all the leagues. I'm wandering around. At some point again, we might do I still have more quotes on the featured presentation thing. We did a whole quote thing today. So if you want to try to get in that, if we do it again, look for that. Malcolm joined us today. But other than that, I'm just around. You'll see me on occasion, but I have no channels or anything like that.
Kelsey, where can people find you online?
You can find me at KelseyKins90 on Twitter and Instagram. I'm also on the Call to Action podcast, which we have a show starting in like 10 minutes. So if you need something to do after this is over, you can hop over there. I also have my own channel. So if you look at my name, Kelsey Kirkland, and click on my face, I do trailer reactions, movie reviews, video games, and a whole series on reacting to Harlequin things. So check it out.
Mark, where can people find you online?
You can find me at Twitter or at Mark the Bat on Twitter and Instagram, and the various movie trivia leagues across the board. You can also check out our new podcast feed, Feeding the Monster. I have a show, Rantings of a Maniac, every other Wednesday. And if you think I'm passionate about Man of Steel just from this little snippet, you should totally tune into that podcast. I've got much more to say. And always tune in for our main channel, Are We Wearing Pants? It's a lot of fun. We talk about nonsense and topical things. It's great, great fun. You will have fun. Join us.
Doug, where can people find you lurking online?
Lurking, I don't know if that's the correct word. I'm over at Multiplex helping out with Multiplex Miscellaneous. I'm over here with The Manor, where you take 5 films that best represent you as a person. I'm going to start pulling more and more people in. I just need to not be an essential worker who works a lot of hours. Pay is good, but when you have no time to do anything but sleep, it's a little rough, guys. But also I compete in movie trivia, and I also have a movie trivia episode match. That's the word. In Fandom Fights, preparing later this month. Yeah, go check it out. It's a good match between me and Nazario.
And you can find me on Take 3, as always, hosting Late Night Take 3. Next week's topic on Late Night is going to be Parks and Recreation. Just one of the best shows that have been on TV. You can also find me hosting Rankum on Saturday nights. Topic next week, topic yet to be decided. Also, over on Full Metal, I also host Full Metal Classic. I'll be doing that draw for that in a bit. And you can find me doing Fauna Random. And this week's random match is going to be on The Simpsons, and it's going to be Brooklyn Vale up against Ryan O'Regan, up against Jay Burns. So it's going to be an interesting match. But from all of us here, just keep listing shit.
Sounds about right.